What? Welcome to Ranger Reviews, a web series we look at episodes of the TV show Power Rangers and then discuss them. Today we're exploring the 4th episode of the show Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue, as well as the 342nd episode overall titled Riding the Edge. We begin this episode with a woman jogging on the side of the road with her little Pomeranian named Dorsey. That's a terrible name. She then stops to tie her shoe, and then she drops the leash for no reason, allowing the dog to just walk away straight into traffic. Well, she freaks out about this, running toward the dog who's just like sitting down in the middle of the road. R.I.P. Dorsey. Someone stops the woman from getting the dog, but here comes Kelsey, who gets Dorsey out of the way of traffic on rollerblades before then she just goes under a semi-truck that's going by. She saved the dog. The crowd watching runs over, and we learn that this is Nancy. She's grateful that her dog is safe, and she calls Kelsey Crazy, who says that Crazy's her middle name. Kelsey Crazy Winslow. It's on her birth certificate. Kelsey says she has to go, and Nancy seems disappointed, but Kelsey rollerblades away while Nancy makes Dorsey wave goodbye, which made me laugh. In the Skull Cavern, Diabolico talks about destroying Mariner Bay, like we get it. Viper says they need a monster the Rangers can't get close to. Diabolico gives Jinxer a new card, and he yeets it into the other dimension. It's going to be a tornado-themed monster, apparently. We meet our new monster, Whirlin. In the dorm, Dana is reading and watching TV while eating pretzels. Kelsey comes in, and we hear that Nancy Cooper, the same girl running with a dog who now we see again, and Kelsey is like, "Hey, I know her." Apparently they're going into space with the same footage from when Turbo Rangers went into space. The news counts down and shows how the ship is going into space for 4 hours. The boys show up and everyone watches the end of Power Rangers Turbo. Mitchell calls and then he lets them know that they've got trouble, and Joel tries to ask if it can wait, but then he says no, so they head out. Joel's both the worst and the best. We see that Nancy made it safely to space. Meanwhile, the Rangers are in town fighting off a strong tornado, helping people to safety. Then some guy flies through the air and Kelsey catches him, helping him down. Everyone is gone and now the Rangers have met with the tornado, which turns into a portal. It's Diabolico introducing himself to the Rangers and explaining that Queen Banshira's palace will be restored. Then he disappears and the tornado is back going away. Also, Nancy in space. The Rangers do a scan, finding out that there's a monster in the tornado firing. It's Whirlin who drops down. They talk crap with him for a bit, and then he calls out the Batlings who are ready to fight. The Rangers take out their rescue blasters, turning them into baton mode, and we get some more of these cool-ass fights that we've been getting so far this season. Chad's fighting, Joel's flipping, Dana's firing, and then Kelsey's repelling. The spaceship is now, I guess, coming back to Earth. I feel like that wasn't 4 hours. Carter is getting manhandled by Whirlin, and the others make sure that he's okay. But then they just let Whirlin hit them down again, so they fire back with their rescue blasters. This is enough for Whirlin, who's heading out. Nancy and her co-pilot then see a giant freaking tornado ahead, and they get caught directly into it, and she's yelling commands at her co-pilot. Carter then calls out the rescue bird, and everyone takes it apart. And then they make the unilaser formation with the rescue blaster, which is apparently a thing. They fire at the tornado, and then they just blow Whirlin up into bits. Literally. Mitchell calls saying that the space shuttle's in trouble, even though the tornado's gone now. Joel says that he can use Aero Rescue 3, and Kelsey's super worried about her new girlfriend Nancy. She has an idea though. Carter asks what it is, and she says they'll think that she's so crazy. So she just calls for the rescue Zords. Didn't we just learn about teamwork and trusting each other last episode? Years later, the Zords are finally there and everyone slowly gets into them. Kelsey's calling the shots, telling Joel to locate the shuttle. She then tells everyone to follow her. We then see the shuttles going down real fast. Joel then somehow starts communicating with Nancy, whose systems are frozen, including their landing gear. Kelsey tells Joel to put the cable magnets onto the shuttle, and then he does it pretty delicately, straightening it out. Chad says that they're going pretty fast, but it's leveling off. Kelsey tells Dana to clear the freeway to turn into a landing strip. Get out your razor, girl. Dana's vehicle opens up and all the cars just drive into its ass. Okay, I guess all those people are just stuck inside there now. Kelsey then has the freeway and she tells Joel to put the shuttle down on top of Has Rescue 4 while she's driving at the same speed. She'll slow it down. Nancy's freaking out and she calls it Crazy, and Kelsey says, "Crazy's my middle name." Nancy now knows that it's Kelsey, and then Kelsey confirms that it's her. Nancy's like, "Oh, okay, well then I'm sure this is gonna work." Why? Joel then releases the shuttle, which goes onto Kelsey's Zord, and Kelsey's slowing down, and Carter tells her to ease it down because she's running out of freeway. Kelsey goes full reverse, and she stops with the shuttle on top of her Zord inches away from going off the edge of the freeway, which is somehow broken in half. When did that happen? Carter's Zord comes over with some ladder arms, placing the shuttle safely on the ground. Kelsey congratulates herself for whatever reason, and Nancy is telling them thank you. Feel like Joel could have just slowed it down and lowered it onto the ground though. Jinxer is nearby and he makes Whirlin go giant and he's stomping through the city, so it's time to form the Lightspeed Megazord. We get an extended formation sequence again, which I actually don't totally mind. Whirlin then does a wind spin, which is literally what it sounds like. They just respond with a power thrust from the ladder arms, punching him over and over again, and then they pick him up and spin him around, just tossing him, and then he explodes. Alright. But then he just stands up. Yeah, guys, that doesn't really kill anything. They call it the Lightspeed Megazord Saber, and they slash, killing Whirlin for real now. Bye! Nancy says how nothing's impossible for them. Afterward, the Rangers meet up with Nancy, and Kelsey's helmetless. It's pretty cool to see. Kelsey tells them about how cool it is to be a Power Ranger, and she always wanted to fly a space shuttle. Nancy insists that Kelsey keeps being a Ranger, and she's, like, great or whatever. Also, Diabolico is mad about losing again. The end. This episode's harmless, and it's a nice focus episode on Kelsey being a wild child, which I appreciate. I don't know that we've ever truly had an intense adventurer like Kelsey being a Ranger, so it's kind of neat to see. This episode's most notable for being referenced to kind of show how Kelsey's probably a lesbian, whether serious or like in jest. I will say there's really nothing contextual here about Kelsey being LGBTQ+, but it's fun to talk about, and to, you know, in my head, Kelsey is a lesbian because, god damn it, I just want some kind of representation like that on this show. Next time, we get some Dana focus, but until then, may the power protect you.